questions about 5? Okay. You didn't have to do 5, but I'll show you how to do 5. 5 will be something we talk about in the next unit. Allison, 1. All right, so let's do 1, 4, and 5. So for number 1, as always, start looking for a GCF. Does this have a GCF? 3. Is it the only thing we can divide out? XY. So if we're dividing each of these by 3xy, what's left? What would that next term be if we're dividing this by 3xy? Would we still have a number? No. We would have x squared. And then no longer y's. What would the next one be? 2xy. And then if we're dividing negative 9xy by 3xy, what's left? Just 3, but negative. Right? In this case, yes, we have something that's squared. Yes, we have an xy. But because this is not a y squared, we can't keep going with this. We can't break it apart more. So this is as far as this will go. That is the answer. Questions on number 1? Now, if this had a y squared behind it, then yes, you could keep going. But because it doesn't, you wouldn't. Right. For number 4, now you can solve 4 just like you would solve 3, but that would be more work than you really need to do. You can still use the x if you like that. So we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to be negative 54 and add to be negative 3. What 2 numbers work there? What are some of your factors of 54? Okay. So they multiply to be negative 54. If we add them together, that is negative 3. 6. But because this doesn't have a number in front, you can go straight into your factors. X minus 9, x plus 6. If you did this the way we were just doing it last class and did it by grouping, you would end up getting the same answers. So for these type of problems, you can do either way. Questions on that one? Right. And as I mentioned, 5 is a little bit more advanced than our factoring stuff. This is going to be something we talk about next unit. But the factors of this are based on the zeros or x-intercepts of this function. So you would figure out what these are, which is negative 5 and 2. But when you write them as factors, it's always the opposite because you're going to end up solving it, setting it equal to 0 and solving it. So the factor for this would be x plus 5, and the factor for this would be they'd both be plus. Oh, this is positive, not negative. This would be minus 2. Sorry. So if I were to graph this in Desmos, it should look like this. Or in the calculator, either or. Desmos is just readily available. That's fine. So it has those same zeros. It should have a y-intercept at -10. If it does, and if I match the rest of the points, they should match. So if that didn't make sense, it's okay. We'll get more into that next unit. But those would be your two factors. Other questions on this quick check? So this was like putting all of our factoring stuff together. When we come back from lunch, we're going to start our flex day. If you are missing tests, you're going to be working on that. If you aren't missing tests but wanted to retake, you can be working on that. Those of you who have not finished this week's Khan Academy, last week's or the week before, can be working on that. On your desk, you have 3 review things. One is a little pink book that has review of all of our different types of factoring, and it's by section. I think some of it is mixed towards the end. The one that's stapled, I think it's stapled, is your review study guide. That's kind of what the quiz and test will look like, sectioned by that. The last one is more challenging because it's a mixed factoring review. So it doesn't really say, like, to factor using this or factor using this. You just have to know by looking. If you want more practice other than what's on your desk or Khan Academy, I will put some out somewhere. And you can grab that, use that if you want.
And there's always built-in map as well.
Correct. Questions on what we're doing when we come back from lunch?
So that means that there is a reminder that's on the board back behind Emma and Mary Ellen for their quiz on Friday. So if you are done with everything, you're all caught up, use this time to study.